Good evening, all. I'm MacDonald. Today, I'm talking about what is sound design. For me, I'm a sound designer actually here. It's my focus as a theater technology major over at the theater department. And today we're going to look at what a sound designer does, where you can hear sound designers work, what equipment they use, and what I do. Basically, with my focus in the theater, there's some sort of different types of things that we'll get into in a little later. Are you familiar with what a sound designer does? Now, I sent out my survey this past weekend, and some of you guys said you're not familiar at all. 5 of you guys said not so familiar, but you had maybe a little idea. And then 5 of you guys also said somewhat familiar. Now, a sound designer is someone who takes sound and combines it into their work, whether that be setting the mood with music, bringing an environment to life, and different types of things, as in possibly making an audience get hyped up during a big moment in a football game. They also want the audience to hear specific moments. There's types of moments where, say, someone opens a door and it's supposed to be a slam. But you can't actually slam the door and not actually get that weird muffled sound of an audio spiking, which is really hard to fix if you do get that. And that involves with sound effects work. So whether or not you have to make it yourself, research it online, or find it in general. Next, where does a sound designer work? As I mentioned, I'm focused in theater, but sound designers are actually all around the industry of arts and film and such. You can find them in television, movies, theater, video games, music videos. As I mentioned also, you can find them at sporting events and such like that. There are many different types of things. With television, movies, most of the time you get the recording of a video and you have to find a specific way to make maybe a horse sound like it's eating something. So you might use a piece of celery and just chomp on that yourself, and that's called Foley. And that's actually creating the sound by yourself using what you have to use as resources, which we'll get into what sound designers actually use. Theater, as I mentioned, I do stuff with theater. We'll get to that also later, but you might want to make, as I said, a sound of a door opening or closing. You can use that sound effect through research, through different types of things. Video games, that's a big one, because you have to think of environmental sounds as well for that. There are different types of environmental sounds that you can create using just simple rustling of leaves on the ground, even just standing outside and listening to the breeze of the wind blow. Music videos, that seems pretty obvious, right guys? Yeah. You have to record the music, make sure the music comes out pretty nice, and then the director takes it and deals with his picture. Equipment that a sound designer uses. I loved your responses to this, by the way. I had some really funny responses, some really different responses, and a lot of the guys, everybody that said something that didn't say no or have no idea, said something that a sound designer would use. The couple of the main ones is a speaker, a microphone, and an audio editing program. The reason for the speakers, obviously, so you can hear it in a wider range so that things can pop out to you. Say something sounds a little too soft here, you can extend the range of that sound just by hearing it on a proper use of a stereo system. Microphones, obviously to record stuff. It's a typical thing to use as a sound designer, as a sound engineer, something like that. You always want to try to have yourself a good microphone to record what you need to hear. To record what you need to get for your people to hear with what you're working with. Audio editing program, that is so that you can cut, clip, move different things into where they need to be. And I'll actually show you a clip in a second that I actually created myself using a variation of sound effects, rice, a metal tin, and just things I found on the internet. But anything else to create sounds. I put sticks up there. People use sticks actually sometimes in movies. As I mentioned before, there was celery. Those types of harder objects that you can snap, create sometimes the image of a bone breaking. It's really fascinating that you can create just simple sounds with everyday objects. Most people don't realize that you can make a weird, horrific sound if just scraping on that piece of metal right there, and people just don't understand where it comes from. But it's just everyday objects that we all work with and we're all around. If you all want to close your eyes real fast, I'm going to show you what I actually created. Just toss out a couple words that might come to your head of what you think when you hear this sound. There's storm.
Rain.
Rain. Anything else that pops into your minds that makes you think about what you're listening to?
Shower.
Shower, stream. You guys can open them. This was actually used last year in the show Ghosts. It was used as background sound for the actors to speak over and actually use as their sort of source on how they focus in on how they're acting actually. Because they're supposed to pretend they're coming out of a storm when they come inside the house. And it was very interesting. This was, as I mentioned before, made with rice, metal containers, so that's where the sound of the rain comes in. And I wish I had pictures of this, but I didn't think I would be speaking about this last year. But then I just found some thunders and stuff online that I just tossed in there once in a while. What I do in the theater. Being a theater sound designer is a bit of a different type of thing compared to maybe in a movie. Yes, you work closely with the director, but more or less you do what I was just doing. You create your own sounds and place them into the movie after the movie has been created. So you create those sound effects that people usually hear. With the theater, you work closely with the director of a play, a musical, or an opera. And then you also help bring the director's show to life through sound. You attend production meetings which help you get insights of what's happening throughout the show. And then you can make and find and research different types of sounds. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys learned some more things about sound designing and hope you guys all have a wonderful evening.